But there was one thing I saw. I saw a video on YouTube of Trump telling people to get the vaccine. Have you seen that?
Yes, and boom.
I thought it was fascinating. He says, I believe totally in your freedoms, and everyone applauds. And he goes, but I recommend taking the vaccine. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccine. He gets booed and immediately pivots to, hey, the vaccines work, but you've got your freedoms. You've got your freedoms. You have to maintain your freedoms. So he clearly understands that is not a position he can ride if he's trying to run for president a second time. And was very, very quick. Like, wanted to throw it out there just because he's often split testing to see how it goes, but was quick to abandon that. And I thought it was interesting because everybody often talks about how Trumpers is what they call them, will just eat anything that Trump throws their way. And that's a often line that you'll hear certain people say. So, these Trumpers, if he says jump, they say how high. If he says jump off a cliff, they do it. And apparently that is not the case. Maybe this was at one point true, but either he tapped into his pre-existing thoughts or he created Frankenstein's monster he's lost control of. But he definitely cannot just say any position and get the people who obviously are his fans. They're showing up to his rallies
3 years before an election. Yeah.
And they'll boo him. He does not have the ability to just say whatever he wants and have the fans applaud and take it in as their own belief system. So
I tend to go with the former, which is that I think Trump did not dictate the agenda. I think he had to tap deeply into a deep strain of distrust of the establishment, a sense that Washington, D.C. was the swamp. I don't think he could have picked any issue and made it his wall. I think a distrust of immigrants was baked into a lot of that. And in coming in, he's been able to take a couple pet projects and be like, this is 1 degree off of, I've already said that I'm your guy. You don't have a strong opinion about, I don't know, X, Y, or Z, and I can move you there. But I do think that distrust of Bill Gates, things that CNN likes, it was deeply baked in. And if you try to put the Trumpiness against that, the Trumpiness will lose. And I don't think that that's a novel thing since he's lost the presidency. I think that he actually has had to move to them. And if you looked at his positions his whole life, I mean, the guy was a Democrat. Like he was a donor. He had to move. He had to be. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Trump has probably paid for abortions. Yeah. and then had to anoint Republican Supreme Court justices that were pro-life. I think this idea, that's what I thought was interesting is the narrative was Trump has these all around his finger
in the palm of his hands and they'll believe anything he says. And it actually looks like much more so that he figured out what they wanted to hear, said it as if it was his idea, and convinced people that he had followers in the palm of his hands. But
and they like him a lot. And like I said, he could take a thing that's 1 degree different and move a ton of people towards it. Yeah, but if you go against that deeper pre-existing belief set, if Trump came out and was like, I'm an atheist, good luck. You know what I mean? How's your Trumpiness gonna play against religion?
Obviously he doesn't even feel comfortable saying he's pro-choice or putting up a Supreme Court justice that's pro-choice.
Or holding a Bible. Yeah, and is that guy religious? It doesn't seem so. It doesn't seem like he takes it very sincerely. But yeah, he can't. He has to move to them, I think, more than people realize, or at least more than I've heard it repeated. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
So I just thought that was interesting. And then there's one more thing which I thought was fascinating, which I thought highlighted what we've talked about before, which is the importance of being philosophically sound by applying, okay, if I think this, what are the secondary effects of it? Because I saw this viral Instagram post where this woman in Birmingham, Michigan was talking to the Board of Education about a mask mandate they had for schools. And she said, if God wanted us to cover our mouth and nose, he would have made us that way. She was wearing glasses at the time because God did not give her 20/20 vision. Yeah. And I just thought it was so interesting because people will sometimes comment, how do you guys come up with your arguments? You seem very well thought in terms of your beliefs. The number one rule is if I believe this, what else follows? So if I believe that I don't need to wear a mask because if God wanted me to cover my nose and throat, he would have done it organically, biologically. You cannot supplement your eye vision with glasses. The second that you do, you are philosophically inconsistent.
Unless there's some sort of special difference between your mouth and nose and your eyes that I am not perceiving, which would be interesting to hear her justify.
Yeah. So one, I thought it was hilarious, but two, I thought it really highlighted that idea, that philosophical tool of, if I do take this as true, what else would follow? And I think a lot of the quote unquote dumb arguments that you see from people that don't make sense, that you can tell come with a bias, it's because they just don't ask that question of, if this is true.
She's wearing clothes. She's out there
if this is true, what else would logically follow?
God would, yeah.
So I thought it highlighted something that we've talked about before when people ask, how do you, because it's often, especially for you, you're so quick on your feet. You can hear an argument that you've never encountered before and find the hole in it right away. And a lot of podcast commenters have said that they find that impressive. Mm-hmm. And I think that's your go-to tool. That's your very first, when presented with an argument, you go, okay, let's say I take you at your word.
I say yes, and I don't fight.
Now what?
I don't fight. Yeah. I just go, okay, so now you're for this? Oh, no, you're not. Oh, why not? And it's, I don't know, maybe that is number one, philosophical debate, whatever it is, that I lean on heavily, is what else does this mean? It actually is more helpful than trying to figure out why something is wrong, because now the other person has to figure out why it's wrong. Yeah. You just say, okay, like, take those glasses off, strip down. You know what I mean? God would have built buildings for us. Get out of here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be inside here. You're supposed to be out in the rain, naked, like God made you. You shave your armpits? God wouldn't have given you armpit hair. You cut that hair? God would have had it be you know what I mean? You don't have to cut your eyebrows, They take care of themselves, but you seem to have a bob cut. What's going on here? No, it's goofy. It's there's a lot of that going around everywhere. Yeah.
So no, it's just a great tool. Highly recommend it. If you think something doesn't make sense, but you can't figure out why, one of the best reasons or best ways to figure out why is just go, well, what else would fall from this?
Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.